Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Tammy. I'm the owner of Walnut Creek Bath Boutique. Today I am going to be making some liquid soap, and this particular liquid soap I'm making right now is called the Glycerin method. So you don't have to cook it in a crock pot, you actually cook it on your stove and you heat your glycerin really high. I really like the way the glycerin is a humectant, so it really just makes your skin feel really nice after using it. Now I did purchase this formulation. I am I am just not ready to start formulating liquid soaps. There's a few things that I feel comfortable formulating myself, bar soaps. I'm getting much more comfortable formulating my lotions and creams. Hot process and liquid soaps, I'm still a little I'm still a little unsure of myself. So I did purchase this recipe and I will link that down below. It's a Mossy Creek soap. I usually make a great big batch of it too. I make a big batch and then I can store it and then pull from it to scent it as I need it. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to go ahead and get everything ready and just bring you along for the ride. Okay, so I have all of my ingredients in their containers. So in my big pot, I have coconut oil, olive oil, castor oil, and safflower oil. And in my smaller pot, I have quite a lot of glycerin, vegetable glycerin. And then in here, I have my lye, my potassium lye, because this is a liquid soap. So it's the KOH, potassium lye. So I have that ready to go. And I'm looking at my notes here. I think I'm really good to go. So what I'm going to do is take you up to my kitchen because I'm going to have to do this on the stovetop. And hopefully my lighting will be all right for you to be able to see what I'm doing. But I'm going to take you up there and I'm going to show you how I make this glycerin method soap. Okay guys, we're in our kitchen and I did have to bring up a light so you could see. But I have everything heating on my stove. So right in here, you can't really see, this is my liquid oils. They're already close to 200, so I probably started those a little too soon, but I have them on low, just keeping warm. In here is my glycerin. It's quite a bit, maybe like 1.5 inches in this big pot. And it has to get up really hot. So we're looking at 144 now. It needs to hit 220. Let me look at my notes real quick. 230. So right around that 230 stage, we'll start adding our lye. I have my water ready to go. I have everything kind of sanitized. I sprayed everything down with 70% alcohol, and then when I'm done up here, I will spray it down again before I start cooking. But yeah, that's kind of how I do my stove when I have to use the stove. There's a few things I do have to use the stove on. Liquid soaps for this glycerin method, and then my creams and lotions I do have to use the stove because I make huge batches at a time. But anyway, when this hits the 230 mark, I'll bring you back and I'll show you the actual adding the lye to the hot glycerin. All right, we are there. I went ahead and took my oils off the heat because they were getting too hot. Make sure you have gloves on, long sleeves. This can kind of get a little dicey. So when we add the lye to the glycerin, you have to do it very, very slowly. And it can take 10 to 20 minutes to get this 11 ounces of lye into this glycerin. And we have to be really careful too, because I have had this boil over because it will whew, and I've had to scrap it. It made a horrendous mess all over my stove and I had to start over. At least it's only the glycerin and the lye you're losing at that, but it is kind of a pain in the butt when that happens. So let's see where we're at. 246, so we're a little hot while I was talking. I'm going to take it off the burner. Let me move the camera just a little bit so you can kind of see what I'm doing. There. All right. I don't have glasses on. Let me get my glasses. Heavens, they were on my shirt. All right. Very slowly. I'm just going to do a little bit at a time, like literally a couple tablespoons at a time, if that. But it can look like it's not really doing anything. I'm going to try not to make this too annoying with the scraping of metal on metal. But it is. Don't worry if you try a glycerin method. And you don't necessarily have to buy this recipe. I did. It's been 3 years ago, but I'd never seen anything else. And I think people have posted on YouTube videos on how to make this with the recipes, so feel free to use a trusted source. But you just add just a tiny bit, stir it until that has dissolved, and then you add a little bit more. It is important to stir it until each addition is pretty well dissolved. You don't want any of these lye chunks left. You want to make sure, absolutely sure, that you have all of them dissolved. And this, it's at 257 right now. And this lye doesn't, potassium lye doesn't dissolve as well as the sodium hydroxide. Seems that dissolves a lot easier. But I still have a few little specks in here. I'm going to try to get all of those. I mean, I'm not like every little speck gone, but for the most part, before I add more, I want those dissolved a little bit more. It's up to 284 and it's not on the heat, so that chemical reaction is starting to happen. Starting to have a little reaction there. We're at 300. It's cloudy, so I can't see those little specks anymore, so I'm trying to feel for them. And it's really, really, really hot. So the hotter this is now, when I add my lye, the more chance it's going to volcano and erupt. Yep, there. A little bit of reaction, and that's fine. Sometimes it'll kind of come up a little bit. Hopefully, I mean, I kind of wanted to just so you can see it, but it is very scary. 300-degree lye burns are not something I want. So again, this is off the heat. So when it starts to bubble up like that, you really want to stir fast and kind of break that tension up. Let's see where we're at. 311. I always kind of keep an eye on my temperature too. I say I don't formulate my own recipes, and I don't as far as the liquid soaps, but I do change a formulation. So I have made this with rice bran oil, olive oil as the biggest amount. Like, I think this time I have safflower and olive. I used to always make it with rice bran and safflower. That part I don't have a problem changing up. Oop, there's all my lye. Didn't even realize it. This thing's so heavy. I don't have a problem changing oils and stuff in a recipe. But to start with, yeah, oops, that was hot. That hit me. To start with, yeah, I purchased it and made it as is. But I think that's kind of normal, right? Once you make a recipe, it's kind of like cooking. You know, when I would make a recipe, I would always have notes and say, well, next time I'm going to do this. And it's kind of like cooking for me. You know, I started with the formulation, and then I just tweak it to be the oils I want or the qualities I want, and then over time it kind of does become yours. Yeah, I thought so. You're supposed to stir this until clear. So I'm going to just stir it. I'm not going to make you sit and watch me stir, When it's clear, I'm going to add it to my big pot. And it's not going to be clear like it was at the beginning. It's still going to be a little bit cloudy, but clear means like I should be able to see my whisk at the bottom of the pot. And right now I can't. So that's what it means by clear. Not that it's going to go completely, you know, see-through again. That didn't really take long at all. It is clear. I see just a couple specks though in here that aren't dissolved. But I can see my whisk easily to the bottom of this. So I'm just going to stir this a bit more and try to get those last little specks dissolved. The last thing you want that speck to hold through and be in your final product. I don't know if you can see how clear that is. I can see the bottom of the pot, but it's cloudy, so those terms can be a little misleading. Definitely I can see through it. And I'm not seeing, oops, there's a speck. Oops, nope, found one. Just have to be careful. They're stubborn little things. And if it won't come all the way, I'm not opposed to taking them out. Ooh, that's hot. Carefully. I really should have rubber gloves on instead of these medical gloves. All right, I think we're ready. So at this point, I'm gonna pour it in my pot here. And that's as tall as that will go. So hopefully you'll see a little bit of what I'm doing. It's very hot. I'm gonna get all that glycerin out. I'm gonna stick blend it just until it's thick and I see little bubbles starting to fly around. It's getting close because I can see some bubbles on the top here, and I think it's going to be close to starting to fly. And I'm getting some flying bubbles, so we're done. Done stick blending. So at this point, it's very runny. Can you see? It's really runny. I've still got some flying bubbles. So that tells me we're emulsified and everything's mixed in well and it's turning into soap. So at this point, I need to let it cool a little bit before I add my water. So it's 260 right now. I want it to go about that 220 and then I'm going to add my water. So I'll bring you back to that. It's been a little while and I don't know if you can see, but it's already starting to paste up on me. It's still a little warm, but I'm going to go ahead and get the water in here because it's getting really, really pasty. It's sitting 250, so not horrendously too hot, but the sides are starting to get really gelled, and that is our liquid soap paste. Isn't that awesome? Look how clear that is. So it's amber, but it's clear. So I'm gonna, here's my water. I've already measured off my water amount. I'm gonna put about 3/4 of this in here. It's gonna get really gelled. Okay. So now what you are supposed to do is you're supposed to try to break up all of this paste. So I have, oh, it's heavy. I have all of this paste in here and the water and the paste are just kind of separated. So the idea is to maybe take a potato masher or, you know, your spoon and just stir it in really well and try to break up all of this paste. Oh, and it's a workout. It is definitely a workout trying to get that all broken up. I'm lazy. I don't see the need to do that. I have just stopped. At this point, I'm done. I'm going to get this off my spoon, but I'm done. And I'm just going to let it sit overnight and the paste will dissolve. Now, tomorrow morning when I wake up, there's a good chance I'm going to have a few chunks of paste. I'm going to heat it on the stove, just let it kind of slowly heat, and those paste, that whatever paste is left will dissolve, and then I'm going to let it come back to room temperature. So I do have to work tomorrow, so I will probably look at this in the morning, dissolve any paste, and then when we come back, it'll be maybe tomorrow night or even maybe even the next day. And we'll finish the base here. So this makes, let me look at my notes here, 110 ounces of liquid soap. That's quite a bit. It's not a massive amount, but for me, it's quite a bit. So I'm really excited. I'm gonna get, oh, that's hot, dummy. I'm just gonna get the lid on here, let it set the rest of the day, and when we come back, we'll go on to the next step. Well, it's been a few days. So what happened in those few days? I probably should have broken up that soap paste a little bit. It took 2 heat cycles to melt all that soap paste. But it did finally melt. So the next morning I got up and there was quite a bit of soap paste still in the pot. And I heated it, then let it sit through the day while I worked, and then that night I went back, put it back on the stove, and by the following morning it was completely gone. So you do what you want, but I still think it's a lot easier because I don't have enough upper body strength to try to smash that really thick soap paste. And then the next thing I did was I just put the rest of my water that I had set off, because remember I only put 3/4 of that water in the pot. I went ahead and added all of that, and everything is beautifully clear amber gold. Amber gold. So what I want to do at this point is just replace any of that water that I had cooked off while I was heating it those times. I don't want this to be harsh. A lot of people think that the less water, the thicker the soap, the better, but actually you don't want your soap to be harsh. And the more water, I mean, we don't want to like be ridiculous with it, but we want to put the right amount of water in there so that it is, oops, I did that wrong, so that it is completely gentle to your skin, right? And then we thicken it later. I lost 27 ounces, so that's a lot through all of that heating, and that's because all of that water evaporated while I heated it 2 or 3 times. So I'm going to top this off with the 27 ounces. 22 ounces. All right. There we go. So now that is back to, get my spatula back out here, the correct weight. And it's going to be nice and gentle. And one of the reasons I like the glycerin method is how gentle and nourishing it is on your skin. So I don't want to do anything that's going to, you know, make this too harsh. So now what I need to do is check the pH. So I have my little cup here, and I'm going to measure out 2 grams of soap. And then 18 grams of distilled water. So that's my 10% solution. And I'm going to get my pH meter out and then put it in here and see where we're at. Okay, my pH is 9.84, and I have a little smiley face on there. It's been read. It's under 10. So that's good. I don't have to do anything to lower the pH. I've never had to lower the pH on the soap, but I do test it every time. My liquid soap base is done. It's ready for me to bottle up into any scent I want. I do need to make some seascape for the salon, so I'll just show you how I do that process, and then, yeah, then I have soap ready for me whenever I'm ready for it. All right, I'm back, and I have my liquid soap base weighed off. I have my jars or bottles ready to be filled. I'm going to make 5 of these. And now I'm going to be using some Crowthix, and it's just the thickener. Before I add the Crowthix, though, I really want to add the fragrance or essential oils. In this case, I'm using Seascape. essential oil blend. I get this essential oil blend from the EO website, and I love Seascape. It's probably my favorite. Now, Clarity is my best selling at the salon, and it is really, really good. Don't get me wrong, Clarity is super, super good. I think my favorite, I really, really like the Seascape. I made a bar soap with it too that I really like. But you want to add your fragrance or essential oil blend first. It's going to change the viscosity of your soap. It's either going to make it thick, it's going to make it thin. You just really want to add that first to get a feel for where you're at. Oh, I have my door open. That dehumidifier out there has been going nonstop, so sorry about that if you heard that. So in Seascape is cedarwood, lemongrass, rosemary, and eucalyptus. That's the blend. But if you want to, you know, find out the percentages, just go on the EO calc. So now, I've already done this, so I pretty much know how much Crowthix I want to add. For me, 1% works out pretty good with the Seascape essential oils, so I'm going to add ½ ounce. A liquid soap made at home, yeah, I don't know that I've ever gotten it as thick as the detergent store-bought liquid soaps on the shelf. I've never been able to do that. The more I try to thicken it, the less lather. So I don't know if you can see, it's pretty cloudy right now. That will clear up a bit. The essential oils can sometimes make your soap cloudy, but this should clear after it sits in the bottles for a while. So I'm ready to package it. I'm going to go ahead and tear that, and aren't these bottles beautiful? They're from SKS. They're a frosted glass bottle. I get just 9 ounces in that. I have just enough space to get my pump on there. I'm super excited with this recipe. I really love it. Guys, I'll bring you back when I'm ready to label these so you can see the finished product. Okay, they're all bottled, labeled, and ready to go. So here's my Seascape. Hopefully it's not too washed out. I'm trying to do better with my settings so that you can actually see what I'm holding up. But there's Seascape. I've got like my little stripe with the hummingbird on there. All my information on the back. And this beautiful frosted glass bottle. I love these things. They're so pretty, high-end looking. Let me show you Clarity. So here's the Clarity. It's a different color. The essential oils will do that. It's more clear. I think these will clear up a little bit. I'm trying to remember. It's been about a year since I've made it, the Seascape. And then I have lotion that matches it, so you can buy it in a package. These are my older labels, but yeah, they'll start matching soon. But yeah, so there's the lotions for the Clarity. I have 145 ounces of liquid soap base. That is just, like I said, it's going to be ready when I'm ready for it. I cleaned it. I missed a spot. So I just put it in the distilled water jug, and yeah, that's how I store it. I have the date and then how many ounces it has in there. And then in my pocket, almost got it all in that water jug, but I have a little note for myself that I have 7.5 ounces of the soap base left. So I'll probably just send that for home and put it in a bottle for us to use at home. I am so excited. I have all the soap base ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and make my next soap, which is a hot process soap. So if you are interested in seeing how I make a different style of soap, subscribe and maybe hit that notification bell, so that way when I do upload that next video, you'll be notified and you can watch how I make the, I call it Sunset. So I'm going to make the Sunset soap, and it's so pretty. So I hope you guys subscribe, and I hope you liked the video. Give me a thumbs up if you did, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.